Here we are, partway through, and the 2/3 or so of the way through our 10-hour retreat. So today is probably a variety of experiences from people that are here right now. Some people are doing the full 10 hours of practice and silence, and some are doing some variation of that. And whatever your experience is, it's really helpful to notice the cumulative effect of a practice as we move through a day. And if you're just joining us, also welcome. Welcome to be here. Or if you're coming back, let's get settled in again and notice what your experience has been during the day, whether you were here during the practices or if you had something else you had to go to attend to and now you're back. What was your experience through the day so far? And I know some of you are from Europe, for instance, and it's later in the evening there. Some of you, it's probably morning. Some it's for me, it's 3 in the afternoon. So notice what your day was like, what was going on, and what were you observing during the various practices if you were doing that or if you're doing something else. So it's always a good place to start, is where we're at right now. And then we also locate ourselves in this time and space. We look around and we check it out and check for, is there anything actually alarming in the space that I'm in right now? And if it's our usual space, we have a high predictability of safety. And if it's something different, then we're going to be paying more attention to that. Yeah, and it's interesting. We don't always pay attention to our experience. Otherwise, we would be perhaps one step removed from it. But when we're having experiences of any kind in life, whether it's an everyday experience or something a little different, it's helpful to really have some level of awareness as we're moving through life. So, our focus on this practice, we're going to do a meditation, but our focus is going to be at the beginning to notice the thoughts in the mind. There's a lot of meditation traditions that purely work with this. Vipassana is one, it's a Buddhist meditation. I do a yoga meditation, but there is a component of that in our meditation as well, where we're watching thoughts. And in Vipassana, people often label the thoughts as well. So if you're in the last practice, we were kind of looking to see if thoughts are about the past or the future, and just looking to see are a lot of our thoughts nervous system generated, which a lot of them are in that layer of the mind. And so in Vipassana, we might label things like thinking, or knee hurting. There's the ways of just kind of bringing our attention in, and that is the practice. And then noticing what's happening in our mind as we're getting more and more into the awareness. And there is certainly a detachment or a non-attachment component. And as we're working with witnessing thoughts, generally what's happening is we have a varying levels of awareness of what our thoughts are and varying levels of being caught up in our thoughts. And if we're caught up in some beautiful visualizations of something that's more pleasurable than it is, usually if the mind is left to its own, there's a lot more catastrophic thinking or ruminating or not as not as helpful. So let's focus a little bit on just softening the body and coming into our body and our breath. And notice as well if you've been doing the practices all day or if you've got a lot of experience with this, we come in more quickly, that's for sure. So notice your physical body. We were just looking around and for a moment. Notice your breath. What does it feel like to take a deeper breath? And notice, is your breath already pretty smooth? Do you already have a lot of continuity in your breath? And if you need something like a blanket to get that and allow yourself to be more comfortable. So, what's the temperature reading right now in your nervous system? Do you feel like you're pretty settled, pretty activated? So, in the nervous system, and the reason we're working with the nervous system in part is because it's always trying to get our attention. But also, when we're talking about meditation, what often prevents us from going into stillness is some kind of alarm bells going off in the nervous system. So, we have a nervous system experience generally over our whole lifetime, and certainly over the last few months or the last few years. And then we also have the experience of right now in this moment. So that's part of what we're doing is we're checking around and seeing, is there actually any danger here that I need to be hypervigilant about? And if there is, I could deal with that. And if not, then I could relax and let go of some of that preparedness. And when I let go of the preparedness, a lot of the thoughts in the mind start to settle, and I have more access to stillness. One of the ways we can tell what's happening in our nervous system is the thoughts in our mind, the content as well as the intensity, the busyness, if there's a lot of them. And are we holding our breath? Are we breathing more easily? The more easily we're breathing, the less the level of alarm is generally. And if we breathe more smoothly, the alarm goes down. If we relax our body, that indicates signals to the nervous system that we feel safe enough to relax. And then also the alarm goes down. So let's just work with that layer for a few minutes. Notice your whole body and let your body relax. That's a pretty simple instruction with a lot of complication to it. So you might want to move your body around a little. You might want to shuffle around or shake or do tension and release or something to bring your awareness into your body. Sometimes you might just tap. Here's my body, I can feel it. Or put your hands on your heart or hold your hand or wiggle your toes. Be aware of your body and notice any tight spots. So, is there something that you could relax or soften? Most people hold their tension in one of these areas: forehead and eyebrows, frown, clench our teeth, mouth and jaw, neck and shoulders. We're tight through our chest or tight through our stomach area. So, which of those seems more like where you hold your tension? So, we could hold tension in a few different spots, but what's your primary? So, for me, it's the back of the shoulders into the mid back area. Whenever I'm starting to feel a little bit of tension there, it's a clue that I should look and see what's going on. What is it that's got me tightening up there? And then, as a shortcut, when you're coming into your body and coming into a meditation, if you relax the tightest part, generally everything else will soften too. So for you, it might be wiggling your jaw around a little and unclenching your teeth. It might be to let your stomach area soften so that you can breathe diaphragmatically. And then we bring our awareness into our thoughts specifically. And we can get into a lot of different loops in the thoughts. Often we start paying too much attention in a way almost. We just start thinking about, well, what am I thinking now? What am I thinking? What's that thought? And we can get very engaged in that process of witnessing, which is fine. except when it kind of starts to loop and then we forget about the stillness part of it. The reason that or the benefit, maybe I should say, for witnessing thoughts is that we come into knowing ourselves more deeply. And that when we have some kind of nervous system generated thoughts, we can see them and start to work more skillfully with them. So, one of the ways that we notice that is we notice the thoughts themselves. And another way is that we notice what's the impact on my breath and on my body. So, let's go into a practice. One of the ways that we can work with the mind and that thinking layer is to give it something else to do. So in the Himalayan tradition of yoga meditation, where I learned meditation and where I teach in that style primarily, um, one of the things we do is we focus on the body, on relaxing the body. We focus on the breath. We sometimes use mantras, sacred syllables, vibrations, and we give the mind something to do to focus on. So instead of kind of sitting back and just witnessing thoughts, we do that, and we also offer something else to the mind to focus on. So let's see how that goes. And as we go through a body scan relaxation, if it's your seventh one today, your body might be feeling more settled and soft. You might be noticing a difference. But whatever it is you're noticing, so we're working with several levels at once on the mind. One is that we're doing a relaxation and breath awareness, and the other is that we're watching to see what is our experience of doing the practice. So, what are our thoughts about it? When do our thoughts take off and do something else? How soon do we notice? How are we bringing it back? So, the witnessing isn't kind of sitting and, as we often do, we just sit and watch what's coming and going. But this time we're doing a practice and then watching what is our response to the practice? What's our experience? So if you were just completely relaxed, let your body kind of come into your awareness and settle. And let's go through the whole back body. Notice, is your body soft and relaxed? Are you able to accept the support that you have, whatever that support is? If you're standing on the earth, if you're lying down completely, your whole body's supported. Is there a nervous system edginess or vigilance of, I need to be ready to go? I can't completely relax because what if, what if? So if that's going on, there's either a subtle or very obvious energy in the body. So notice, can you relax your body? Can you let your body settle back? And there's no right or wrong answers. We all do this sometimes, and we all are not able to do it sometimes. So it's really an exploration, these somatic inquiries. So we're noticing the back of the neck, the shoulders, the upper back. And if there are sensations there, we might notice sensation as well. We might have thoughts about the sensation. Oh, that again. Or, geez, I'm so many hours into the day, I should be completely relaxed. Or, wow, I'm feeling a little better than I usually do. So notice the back of your neck, your shoulders, your upper back, your mid back, lower back, and the level of surrender and letting go that you're able to do right now. Notice the back of your arms and the back of your legs as well. Are you able to let your arms and legs be off duty? And we're really working with the conscious mind and the unconscious. The nervous system might be going, no way. And your linear mind is going, well, there's nothing going on. Of course I can relax. So those might not be in alignment. So notice the muscles and see if you could allow your muscles to soften. If you have an edginess or wanting to move forward, sometimes just noticing that is enough to soften and let us relax a bit more. Or you might want to do some shaking or stretching or something like that. So the whole of the back body now is in our awareness. And it might be helpful to look around again and let your nervous system have that direct experience, to listen to the sounds in your space. If there's no danger right now, then it's not helpful for me to be ready to go. I could go off duty and back it up a little, back it down into a state of I'm ready, I'm resting, and when I have to respond to something, I will, but that's not right now. And let your breath reflect that as well. Take some deeper breaths. Really let go on the exhale. And then notice your forehead, eyebrows, and eyes. Notice the thoughts in your mind about your forehead, eyebrows, and eyes. Or maybe they are about something else completely. We often think about what's just been said. So maybe you aren't really familiar with the way I speak about the nervous system. And you're kind of thinking about that, like, why are my arms and legs always ready to rock? So you might be thinking about something that's common, it's normal, it's what we do, we think. And if something else is going on that's big in your life, then there might be something like that that's at the edges of your thought or maybe just kind of informing or saturating your thought stream. This isn't a process of trying to control our thoughts because we can't do that. We're just noticing what's here and what is my response to that, to whatever it is that's here. Softening your forehead might be something that's really easy. So let's just focus on that for a moment. Notice all of those little muscles of the forehead. There's some larger muscles in the eyebrows. If you move your eyebrows up, you can feel a lot of those muscles. And there's some really subtle muscles around the corners of the eyes. These are the muscles that smile when we're genuinely smiling. And giving our minds something like this to do can be very helpful. This might be the only thought in our mind. We're just noticing the forehead, eyebrows, and eyes. Notice the sensations of air in the nostrils. Notice your mouth, your jaw. If you're clenching your teeth, see if you could let that release. And what are your thoughts right now? Are you thinking about your clenched teeth? Are you thinking about things, maybe some content in the mind of things that you're clenching your teeth so you don't inadvertently say? It's not safe to say. Let's sit with this for a moment. What's going on in your mouth and jaw? Just as you focus on softening your mouth and jaw, and then notice thoughts that might come in. You could be focusing on the stillness in your mind, maybe on your breath. We're looking to give our mind some anchors, to let our mind anchor into stillness. So as you're focusing on your mouth and jaw, notice your throat as well and the front and sides of your neck. And we could pause for a moment and just notice, what was my response over the last few minutes? First, I was focusing on softening the forehead and eyebrows, and then I was working with my clenched teeth. Maybe they're clenched, maybe they're not. Loosening the jaw, but also noticing, what are my thoughts about that? So notice, what was your experience just in that little part of the practice so far? Sometimes there aren't very many thoughts about it. We're just noticing. And then noticing the stillness as well. What was your experience with that? And then bring your awareness now into your throat and into your chest. Notice the front and sides of your neck and down into the shoulder blade, the shoulders, at the top of the shoulders, joints, and then down into your chest muscles. And let's hang out in the chest area for a little bit. So if you have a lot of thought in your mind, you might give your mind something a little bit more to do. Maybe you're going to do like a tension through the muscles of your chest and then a release. Maybe you put your hand on that area of your body. You could take some deeper breaths and notice, if you breathe in really deeply, often we can feel the little intercostal muscles on the sides of the lower ribs start to open a little bit more. There are lots of things we could be noticing physically. You could use that as an anchor into witnessing and being aware. But what else is going on in your chest? And of course, in the chest is the heart and the heart center. So if you were to imagine your awareness behind your heart center, what would you be noticing? What's happening in your heart right now? Often there's an energetic feel. If you are experiencing sadness or grief, you've probably got that going on. A heaviness, perhaps, or a pain in your heart, broken heart. If you're having a lot of joy right now in your life or right now in this moment, that has a very different feeling. And there's thoughts, of course, that go along with all of those experiences. So let's notice the experience. And as you're doing that, notice your thoughts about the experience. See if you could keep nudging your awareness towards just the stillness. Here I am, I'm noticing my heart center, I'm noticing emotion or sensations, energy. I'm focusing on the stillness as well. And notice if your mind is staying with this or if your mind is going off somewhere else. So often, when we are uncomfortable with something, we don't really want to feel what's here. We'll just start thinking about something else. It's a flight response. Or maybe it's not so much that, it's that we have something we're really obsessing about in our mind right now. So that thought came back in. Maintain some awareness in the heart center as we're doing this part of the practice. Aware of what's happening in your heart center, your emotions. Notice if you're able to focus in on the stillness at all or how long. And notice if the stillness has that quality of alertness and of paying attention, or if it has a quality of numb or disconnected. Sometimes there are not a lot of thoughts going on in the mind because we're in a state of freeze or disconnection. And sometimes we're more genuinely still in our heart. Notice your breath. And let's focus in on the breath for a moment. If it's comfortable, focus on the stomach area. And if it's not, maybe focus on the nostrils or don't focus on the breath at all. The breath can be something that makes us uneasy, depending on our history with it and how safe we feel in our nervous system right at the moment. So, if you're comfortable with it, though, notice the rhythm of your breath first. How fast are you breathing? Are you breathing about the same length on the inhale as the exhale? Many people breathe about 3 seconds in, 3 seconds out, or something in that neighborhood. Two or three or four or five. But what's your usual? What's happening right now if you're just letting the breath do what it's doing? And then notice as well if you're breathing with continuity or if you're holding your breath. So when you come to the end of the exhale, are you smoothly letting in the in breath? At the end of the inhale, are you smoothly letting go of the old breath? It's a habit, what's going on in our body and our breath. So, what is your habit there, or do you have one? And notice if you're breathing diaphragmatically. If you are, your stomach will be softening on the exhale. A smooth, even length, diaphragmatic through the nose. The four qualities of healthy breathing. And when we breathe in that way, we signal to the nervous system that it's safe enough to breathe. So that helps to lower the level of hypervigilance, it helps to quiet the thoughts. It's very important. It's one of the reasons why so many meditation traditions work with the breath. And notice, what was your experience working with the breath? Were you staying fairly focused on it? Did your mind go off somewhere else? Did it seem to settle your nervous system or agitate your nervous system? Now, let's add in something else for the mind to watch and pay attention to, and that is a mantra. So if you're not interested, you don't have to do it, of course. The universal mantra is so hum, and it's the sound of the breath is sometimes described as. And as you're inhaling, the sound is so. I exhale, it's hum. So it's spelled so SOHAM, but it's pronounced hum. So imagine that this mantra is flowing with your breath. So we could do this as a breath awareness practice in the nostrils, or you could imagine it going from head to toes. Take a moment to get yourself all guide for the nostril breath. So from the eyebrow center in behind the forehead to the base of the nostrils, where the nostrils meet the upper lip and back. And as we're breathing in, we can notice the coolness of the breath. Breathing out, it's a bit warmer. As we breathe in, listen to the sounds. This is not out loud, this is in our mind. Breathing in, so, exhaling, hum. So we're letting the rhythm be smooth and even, about the same length on the in as the exhale. Just letting the breath have some rhythm. Inhaling, so, exhaling, hum. Let the sound and the awareness of the sound flow in your mind. From the eyebrow center behind the forehead to the base of the nostrils and back. Notice if your mind is focused on the mantra or if it kind of drifted away. Listen to the sound, listen to the vibration. And as you're doing that, let your mind come deeper into stillness. Use the focus on the breath as you're breathing out, softening your body. Listening, so hum flowing in your mind. We don't have to judge our experience as right or wrong. We could just notice it. If your mind is tired, maybe you drifted off into a bit of a sleep. Maybe you're thinking about something else, or maybe you were really enjoying the stillness, the vibration, the rhythm. Might be all three. And sometimes it's helpful to do a sweeping breath, let your whole body be in your awareness. And as you breathe out, let wave after wave of softening flow from head to toes. You could have it flow down your back body, through your front body. You could breathe out and then pause, breathe out some more, go down a little bit more. Or you could let it flow all the way down your body in one big, long exhale. Let your mind attach to the rhythm of the breath. Keep moving your attention towards stillness. Exhaling, letting your body soften. Let yourself be aware of your experience and keep moving towards the stillness. If you enjoy the mantra, let that help. Exhaling, hum. Inhaling, so. Smooth flow of breath, awareness, and sound. If it's helpful, you can notice your thoughts about your experience. Otherwise, just come right back into the experience, the practice. Use your breath, smooth, even flow of breath and awareness as an anchor. The sound flowing with the breath. Inhaling, so. Exhaling, hum. Inhaling, so. Let that flow in your mind with your breath. And then as we're coming towards the completion, notice your whole experience since the beginning of this particular practice, working with the body, the nervous system, thoughts in our mind, the breath, what we were observing as we were going through the relaxation practice, different parts of the body, like clenching your teeth. What was going on in your mind, and what were you noticing about that? And as we came into a little bit more of the stillness, were you able to keep your mind returning to stillness, or was it going off other places? Let's take the last few minutes to reflect on that and also to reflect with kindness. Our mind, our nervous system is built by the experiences that we have. So if you're feeling any frustration or shame about what's happening in your mind or your nervous system, see if you could let that go and be kind to yourself right now, especially if you're frustrated. Let your body be in your awareness now. Notice your experience in your body right now. Are you breathing with ease? Often by the end of a practice, we have a bit more space, a bit more openness. We've experienced at least a little bit of stillness. Or maybe we've had a bit of a softening of something we were shaming ourselves for. Bring yourself into your own heart. Be kind. Let your mind attach to the rhythm of your breath. And as we slow the pace of our breathing, we do that consciously sometimes. Sometimes we often do it because we're starting to relax and we don't have that fast pace so much anymore. Doing something like cyclic sighing for a few breaths can also interrupt the speed and bring us into a bit slower pace. One thing that's helpful to do at the end of a practice as well is to continue it for a little while if you want to, but also to notice what was it about the practice that really was helpful. So if there's some component of that that was really helpful to bring you into stillness, then that would be a good thing to focus on. So next, hour 8, we're doing a meditation in the cave of the heart. This is a beautiful meditation. People who come to my daily practice at 8 a.m. Eastern often experience this. We do it fairly regularly. It's a visualization. It's in the heart chakra. It can be a very beautiful, still practice. So, quite a bit different than what we did in this practice because less observing, more going right into the stillness, which is why I have them in the sequence that they're in. So, next 15 minutes, we can take an opportunity to rest and come back into the practice again if you're available to do that. And if you're having problem with Soham or any of those things, it's just something to be aware of, and maybe that's not a practice that's helpful right now, or maybe to work with a little bit, and that would be helpful. Yeah, we'll just see how that goes. So thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed the practice and had some insights as well. And for those of you coming back, I'll see you in 15 minutes. Oh, thank you.